Will the two remaining unbeaten teams in the NFL remain undefeated? Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. So we talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Russ Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We are almost halfway through the NFL season. I cannot believe that that is the case, but it is flying by. And there are only two unbeaten teams left in the NFL, and both of them had buys last week, and they got some tricky games coming up this week. It's going to be really interesting. But I'm going to go over every single week 7 game of the NFL season and see which teams I think will win and which teams I think will lose. Now, on Thursday Night Football, we got the Denver Broncos and the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 2-4 and the Broncos are 2-3. Both teams are kind of struggling right now, but the Broncos have been playing a little bit better as of late, whereas the Saints have been playing truly awful football after starting the season out 2-0. They've lost their last 4 games, and they're at home, but I picked them to beat the Bucs last week on their own field, which was one of the only 2 games I got wrong last week. I went 12-2 on my picks, and I'm 60-32 on the season, so I'm doing pretty good on my picks, but I'm not picking the Saints right because they keep on losing, so I'm going to go with the Broncos. They're playing a little bit better than the Saints right now. I'm picking Denver to go on the road and beat New Orleans 21-17. Then to move on to the Sunday games, we got the New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both of these teams are truly awful. Both are 1-5. But the Jaguars, they have been playing worse football overall than the Patriots as of late, kind of like with the Saints and the Broncos, because New England is Drake May now at quarterback, and he put a little bit of life into that offense last week. Whereas Trevor Lawrence, is not all on him, but the team is just terrible right now. It doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. So I'm actually going to go with the Patriots with a rookie quarterback to inject some life into the team and get a 17-14 win over the Jaguars. Then you have the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. Seattle is 3-3, Atlanta is 4-2, and kind of like the Saints, Seattle is in free fall mode right now. They started out 3-0, they've lost their last 3 games. Atlanta's been up and down. They just beat the Panthers last week, which isn't really that hard to do. The Panthers are pretty awful, but Atlanta is 4-2 on the season, and they are atop the NFC South. They are at home as well, and they're playing pretty good football. Kirk Cousins isn't perfect, but he's getting the job done overall, and Geno Smith has been fading the last couple of weeks. I'm actually going to go with the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Seattle Seahawks 27-20 for Seattle to lose their 4th straight game. Then you got the Tennessee Titans traveling to the Buffalo Bills. Even though Buffalo struggled on Monday Night Football against the Jets, and hashtag fire Sean McDermott is rolling around the NFL right now, I still think Buffalo is a decent team. And they just made a breaking news trade to get Amari Cooper. I know a lot of people are saying Amari Cooper is washed up, but he's still a pretty solid receiver overall that could inject life into the Bills offense. The Titans are garbage on offense. Will Levis is trying. He finally threw a touchdown pass to Nick Westbrook last week. Nick Westbrook should be getting a lot more involved in the offense. He's a pretty solid receiver, but Tennessee just doesn't know what they're doing on offense. I think that the Bills, especially with the addition of Amari Cooper, will be able to knock off the Titans 27-14. Then you got the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati is 2-4. The Browns are 1-5. And Cincinnati won on Sunday Night Football against the Giants, whereas Cleveland, they've been in absolute free fall mode. They have lost several games in a row. They're playing terrible football. They just traded Amari Cooper to the Bills, showcasing that they've basically given up on the season and are getting draft picks for the future. I think Cincinnati has more to play for than the Browns. They're still a better team, and Joe Burrow has been playing better as of late. I'm going to go with the Bengals to beat the Browns 24-17. Then you got the Houston Texans traveling to the Green Bay Packers. This is a great game right here. Houston's 5-1, Green Bay's 4-2. Jordan Love's back for Green Bay, whereas for the Texans, you have C.J. Stroud balling out, playing even better than he did in his rookie year at times. He looks like he's going to be a staple in the NFL for a very long time. I think that the Houston Texans are on a roll. I know that at times they have not played perfect football, but I trust them to be able to go on the road and win a big game because they've actually won several tough road games already this season. I'm going to go with the Texans to beat the Packers 27-20 and what should be one of the best games of the Week 7 slate in the NFL. Then you got the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are actually 3-3. The Dolphins are 2-3. Tua is still going to be out for the foreseeable future. So as long as he's out, their offense is going to suck. Indianapolis, though, now it's Joe Flacco at quarterback instead of Anthony Richardson. I don't even really know what you want to say with how it's going. He's doing just enough to help the Colts be competitive. And for that, I think that the Colts will actually knock off Miami 20-17. If Tua was playing, I would absolutely go with Miami. But since he's not, the Colts will get the dub. Then you got another headline game in the NFL this week with the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. If the Houston Texans Green Bay game isn't the best game of the week, then this one right here is going to probably be the game of the week, because you got the Lions at 4-1, and they just demolished the Dallas Cowboys last week. Absolutely obliterated Dallas. Dallas is lucky to have a bye this week. They need to regroup. Minnesota, those 5-0, they're coming off of a bye week. They played great football up to this point. Sam Darnold, even though his stats haven't been one of the best of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, he's still been getting the job done, and their defense has been good. I don't know. I really like what the Vikings are doing. I know this is a prime opportunity for them to lose their first game with how good the Lions have been, but the Lions coming off that big win against the Cowboys, that could get to their head a little bit, even though Dan Campbell isn't really the type coach that would let that happen. I'm actually going to go with the Vikings to knock off the Lions 27-24 in what should be a thriller for the Vikings to remain undefeated. Then you got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Giants in the final 1 o'clock game of the Week 7 slate. Philly's 3-2. They've been up and down, whereas the Giants are 2-4. The Giants have been somewhat competitive because of their defense, led by Micah McFadden at middle linebacker. He's been great for the Giants, but their offense with Daniel Jones is absolutely abysmal, and for that reason, I just don't see how the Philadelphia Eagles could lose this game, despite Philly not looking all that great. I think that the Eagles will beat the Giants 21-14. Then in the first 4 o'clock game, you got the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Raiders are 2-4. The Rams are 1-4. Both teams are pretty awful. Matthew Stafford, I don't know how much longer he's going to be at the Rams. He's doing the best that he can, but the Rams are just not the same team that won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The Raiders are doing everything they can to help their team win, whether it's Aiden O'Connell at quarterback, Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and then you also have Devontae Adams and his trade controversy, even though it looks like now he's going to stay for at least the near future. I think the Raiders are a mess. They're going on the road. They're playing terrible football. I feel like the Matthew Stafford-led Rams will bounce back and get a 17-14 win in what should be a pretty ugly game. Then you got the Carolina Panthers traveling to the Washington Commanders. What more can you say about the Panthers? They're awful. Outside of the win against the Raiders, which shows you how bad the Raiders are that they let the Panthers beat them, the Panthers have been anemic. Andy Dalton is a better quarterback than Bryce Young, and he has injected some life into the offense, but they don't have enough weapons. Their O-line is terrible. Their defense is a lot worse this year than it was last year. The Commanders with Jaden Daniels have been rolling. I really like the way that they've been playing, even though they did lose a tough game last week. I think the Commanders will easily beat the Panthers 24-10. Then we have another headline game. Might not be the best game of the week, but that's going to be up to the San Francisco 49ers and how they play, whether this game ends up being the game of the week somehow. The Chiefs are 5-0. They're undefeated like the Vikings, which is not surprising because they won the Super Bowl last year. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. It's Travis Kelce. They just keep finding ways to win. San Fran's been up and down, but they did get a big win last week over Seattle. Looks like they're playing a little bit better. Still no McCaffrey. Don't know when he's going to be back, but the 49ers have just had a lot of injuries. If they had been healthy, they probably would have a better record right now. I think that the Chiefs will struggle in this game just a little bit. Being on the road at the 49ers are going to realize this is a headline game to get their season back on track, so they're going to try hard. But the Chiefs, they just find ways to win. So I'm going to go with them to knock off San Francisco 28-14. Then on Sunday Night Football, you got the New York Jets traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Jets coach got fired. Aaron Rodgers is still struggling. They're 2-4 on the season. The Steelers are 4-2. Justin Fields is still the starting quarterback. He is fending off Russell Wilson for the job. He's been doing just enough to keep the job. Hasn't been great, but he is passing the ball more downfield, and Pittsburgh has just been good enough on both sides of the ball to be competitive and get wins this season. They are at home. The Jets are a mess. I think the Steelers beat the Jets 24-17. And then in a Monday night doubleheader, you got the Baltimore Ravens traveling to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Underrated game here. The Bucks are 4-2 atop the NFC South standings like the Atlanta Falcons. The Ravens are 4-2, and they start out the season pretty rough, but they have been bouncing back in a big way. Baltimore is rolling right now and at the right time to get their season back on track. Lamar Jackson is playing great football, better than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been up and down this season. He's been pretty solid, but definitely Lamar Jackson has outplayed Baker Mayfield. I think even though though it's on the road, I trust the Ravens right now a little bit more with how they've been playing, and I think that they're going to get a 28-21 win on Monday Night Football. And then in the other Monday Night Football game, you have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray has injected life to the Cardinals offense this season. He's playing better, giving some people hope that he could end up resurrecting his NFL career and the Arizona Cardinals team in the process. But they still haven't been great. The Chargers are 3-2. Herbert and Harbaugh, the tandem is starting to get it cooking a little bit. They're not a great team right now, but it is their first season together. I do think that they're going to start playing better football as time goes on. I do think that the Chargers are ahead of the Cardinals as a team right now, and they're going to find a way to squeak out a 20-17 win over the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. But those are my Week 7 picks for every single game of the Week 7 slate in the NFL. I did a great job last week going 12-2 on my predictions. This week there's 15 games, and there's a good chance I'll do a whole lot worse this week, because when you have a good week, the next week we'll have a ton of surprises and you'll end up having a bad record. So we'll see. Maybe my record will be good, but only time will tell. Chicago and Dallas have a bye this week. Dallas definitely needs that bye, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens on whether these undefeated teams like the Vikings and Chiefs can stay undefeated and which teams can get some surprise upsets in Week 7. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about my picks for every single Week 7 game, and whether you agree or disagree with my picks and which games you are looking forward to the most out of all these games during the Week 7 slate of the NFL season. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.